Hello everybody, John12 back here again with another video, and I'm here with my official Dragon Ball Super Episode 3 review. Now, of course, now that I'm completely and 100% done talking about Goku vs. Superman 2, the rematch of Legends, allegedly, I'm here to officially give you my review on it. I was going to do this before, but the anger was just too much to withstand. It was boiling inside of me like fucking nails on a fucking stove. It was just insane. I couldn't handle it, so I just had to rant. And if you've not heard or have been offended by my rant as of late, please go to my channel and check out my Goku vs. Superman 2 personal thoughts rant video. It's pretty fun and entertaining if you want to hear some, asshole on YouTube bitch about Screw Attack for like 20 minutes. So if you kind of enjoy those type of things, then you can enjoy my rant. But that being said, enough of my shameless plugs. Let's get into Dragon Ball Super, something more Goku related. If my mind couldn't withstand it before of talking so much about Goku today, I'm back again with some more Goku. That's, I guess, the Trudy. Did I just say Trudy? No, I meant the truly nerdy fan I am. That being said, today's obviously taking just a humongous recap of, Beerus's premonition. Of course, we're starting to enter some more Battle of Gods territory. And once again, before I continue, you must keep in mind that this review may contain spoilers, so please go check it out. I'm pretty sure you can find the episode on the internet relatively easy with subtitles, so there you go. But that being said, moving off of that, Beerus obviously is dealing with Whis after the destruction of that little Minions planet, and dealing with the fact that now that he has figured out this premonition, this dream that he continues to have over this alleged Super Saiyan God, or this super god that he wants to battle with, that will be his true adversary. He's not really having a good time figuring it out, which I think is kind of weird. And I think one of the big things that kind of conflict with me going into this episode, although I like this episode, the big confliction that I have that kind of just destroys, my tendency to want to watch this episode continuously, is the fact that the Chapter 2 of Dragon Ball Super came out. The manga Chapter 2 came out prior to the episode's release, and it pretty much gave you exactly what you wanted out of Dragon Ball Super. It goes right into the fight. Chapter 1 was essentially what we expected, but Chapter 2 was like, let's just get right into the shit, which is really crazy. So I'm guessing that Dragon Ball Super, the anime, is going to focus more on the filler, which I guess makes sense to a certain extent because, Toei Animation wants to make a full 100 episode, series with Dragon Ball Super and possibly onward, who the hell knows. So I can get why they make and focus so many episodes fully on the day in the life of certain characters and these very filler-esque kind of storylines. But the problem I have is that the manga and the anime are being developed simultaneously. Why couldn't they have just have an outline, a blueprint, if you will, and just essentially say, okay, we're going to do all this, just do that? Why do we have to focus on this filler bullshit? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the filler-esque kind of storylines we get. I mean, Vegeta on vacation with Bulma and Trunks, priceless. It was beautiful. Goku, being a farmer, we kind of saw that with the special, but still funny. I liked it. But continuously, beating the head, the dead horse over the head, just gets annoying after a certain point in time. And it's very relevant in this episode because in the chapter, we go directly to the battle of Goku and Beerus, which of course is something we saw in Battle of Gods. And of course, spoilers if you've not seen the chapter goes a little bit more in depth with the battle than it does with Battle of Gods. It's pretty much the same gist. Goku's training on King Kai's planet, same way he does in the anime, but in the movie, it pretty much ends very quickly with Beerus just completely dominating Goku in his Super Saiyan 3 mode. In this, it's a little bit more comedic, as where Goku fights Beerus in every single one of his transformations leading up to Super Saiyan 3, which of course leads in the same direction, of course, with Beerus beating his ass pretty quickly and easily. So it's good, but it's just funny how they kind of changed it because, we already knew that the movies would be converted into story arcs in the series, but it's just kind of funny and cool to see how they changed significant points in the movie in comparison to the anime and manga, which is kind of cool. I actually like that. I have no real qualms with it. The real interesting thing is, like, how are they going to fix in the manga for Resurrection F, especially seeing as how they actually made a manga for Resurrection F before the movie, and now they're doing it for the anime. So are they going to, like, do that again, or are they just going to rehash the manga? I don't know. That's just a really interesting question. And also, in the manga of Chapter 2, spoilers, we get our first glimpse of the character of Champa, which is the newest god, and of course his Whis character, which is the female Whis. We get a good glimpse of what they're pretty much doing. I don't know the full extent of what they're pretty much going for in this series, but we can kind of grasp the fact that Champa obviously is up to something devious, and he doesn't want Beerus to know exactly what he's doing. But seeing as how Beerus is so strucken with the Super Saiyan God prophecy that he wants to face, he's pretty much too busy to focus on Champa. So it's kind of interesting how they're changing things from the movies in comparison to the manga and anime, and I really liked it. It was pretty badass. I like how they changed it. In the anime, however, we get some more filler stuff. We get to see kind of like the build up to this battle. We don't actually get to see Goku versus Beerus in this episode, which I'm guessing is what episode 4 is going to be heavily influenced by. But in this episode, we're building up to it. We get Beerus talking about God, for like almost every scene he's in. He's talking to Whis, he's talking to the Oracle Fish thingamajig, which I completely forgot I think that's what his name is, right? Oracle Fish? I don't know, I forgot. We only see him like once in the movie, so forgive me if I forget the fish's name, but I want to say it's Oracle Fish. I don't know why. But anyway, Dr. Seuss Fish, that's what I'm going to say. Anyways, he goes through this, debate with, whether or not there's a god out there that could be, powerful enough to take on the god of destruction, all that kind of ominous bullshit that we got with Battle of Gods, so, which is all cool and awesome. And of course we get to the obvious creme de la creme, which is Beerus figuring out that it is Super Saiyan God. This Super Saiyan God could possibly be Goku, who is obviously training at this point in time in King Kai's planet, and of course Whis and Beerus travel to King Kai's planet to find him. And then we get a whole bunch of shoehorn stuff with Bulma discussing her birthday because, during the events of the battle between Goku and Beerus, of course it's set in the birthday of Bulma. So of course it pretty much plays out the same way that it does in the movie. The only major difference is, spoilers, essentially, if you've seen episode 2, you pretty much already know, but in the movie, it's a birthday party for Bulma at Capsule Corp, but in the TV show and manga, it's pretty much a cruise ship. Essentially, obviously the Brief family is the richest family in all of Dragon Ball universe, so of course they can afford a gigantic yacht / cruise ship to, of course, withstand the amazing, I guess, epicness, if you will, of essentially a battle between gods. I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna play it the same way where like Beerus comes and hangs out at the party ship, or I don't know, like a battle on a ship. Like, I can only imagine the many Titanic references that could happen with that kind of episode. With that being said, it's pretty much the same thing. We have everyone coming back together. It's a birthday for everybody. There's tons of, fun and jokes. We get to see Master Roshi fuck around with Oolong. We get to see, Hercule and Majin Buu once again. We get to see Bulma bitch because Vegeta and Goku are off training instead of celebrating her birthday. Pretty much the same thing we got with the movie, except a little different, which is the only real major difference is instead of being at a Capsule Corp, it's on a cruise ship. That's pretty much the only major difference. Other than that, the entire episode is just predicated on the fact that Beerus knows about the Super Saiyan God. He knows that Goku may be the one, Neo, the one, if you will. But he's off pretty much going to North Kai's planet to, of course, find King Kai with Goku and, of course, challenge him to the fight, which we already saw with Battle of Gods, the movie, and, of course, in Chapter 2 of Dragon Ball Super, the manga. So, essentially, that's pretty much the episode. It's essentially just build-up. Instead of being called whatever it was, it should have just been called, the calm before the storm. That's what this episode should have been, because that's essentially what it is. It's basically just Beerus, and it's just a build-up to Beerus versus Goku, and of course Battle of Gods territory, which was kind of cool. I was really not expecting this show to go so early in Battle of Gods territory, mostly due to the fact that Dragon Ball Super takes place several months after after the Kid Buu arc, and of course it takes place several years before Battle of Gods. So maybe they're doing this on purpose to change the continuity errors that they did with Battle of Gods, kind of like, like Battle of Gods takes obviously several years afterwards, but everyone looks pretty much the same exactly they were in the Kid Buu arc. So maybe they're doing that on purpose to be like, okay, well, now that we have these amazing stories that we developed for the movies, we can convert them and do them better, that make fans a little bit more happier with the mistakes we had with the movies, like the kids being still kids, and certain characters not being as developed as, other characters, and, a whole bunch of other mismatched kind of scenarios. So that's kind of like the general gist of what they're going for, and I like that. I personally had zero expectations for the conversions of Battle of Gods and Resurrection F, because the movies are so great, it kind of felt pointless to make a series on them, which is why I kind of hoped that they would have done Dragon Ball Super after Z and completely erased GT out of history, but it is what it is. Maybe we'll get there one day in the distant future, but as of right now, I'm kind of happy with the way they've been changing things up, so I'm all for it. This episode was pretty decent. We get to see more characters other than just freaking Goku and Vegeta. We got to see Krillin, with his family, tons of really fun jokes with that. We got to see Piccolo actually talk in this episode, which was fun, and to see that little joke of him like closing his eyes during the Gohan's wedding photos, which was pretty funny. I'm just saying that photo just looks hysterical. I don't know why. It just, like, when I saw that, it just got to me. I just had to laugh out loud of how hysterical that picture looked. But overall, the episode was pretty decent. It's a solid episode. Of course, it's not the episodes we really want to see. All we really want to see is essentially what we got with the manga, which is kind of weird how the manga is pretty much doing what the anime should be doing, which is giving us an epic action series of biblical proportions, which is what, the Dragon Ball franchise is pretty much depicted about, but we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. I definitely expect either episode 4 to definitely be the episode where we get full-on action from these gods. And then we'll get into Battle of Gods and possible, future episodes like episode 5 and 6 and 7 and God knows where, and then we'll see Champa come in and do his thing. So I'm definitely hyped. I'm definitely excited. I want to see how the anime changes things. So there's a lot of foreshadowing and a lot of expectations, so can't wait for next episode. Episode 4. But that being said, if I had to rate this episode, I'd give it a good 8 out of 10, I think. It's a pretty good conservative rating. I like this episode. It didn't have the action as I would have liked, but there's a lot of things in this episode that I really appreciate. Beerus and Whis' jokes and all the comedic stuff they went through was hysterical. Piccolo and the wedding picture, fucking awesome. All the jokes with Krillin and Bulma and Master Roshi and Chi-Chi and all that stuff was hysterical. Goku training on King Kai's planet with the gigantic weights was freaking awesome. I mean, just imagine that live action. I just want to see someone like pick up that much of weights. That would be so cool. But that being said, yeah, I love this episode. It's a pretty good, solid episode. Let me know what you personally thought in the comment section below of Dragon Ball Super Episode 3. Did you read Chapter 2 of the manga? Let me know what you thought about that also. And the comment section below, let me know your personal thoughts on Battle of Gods now being a factor of Dragon Ball Super, and not to mention, comparing the movie and the anime and the manga in comparison together. What are your personal thoughts on that? Just let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Been John12.